Now, from WYDC TV, this is Big Fox News at 10.
Thanks, Alyssa. People across the Twin Tiers observed Martin Luther King Jr. Day today. Our Sonia Ellison tells us about a couple of the events and how some local civil rights leaders could soon get new recognition.
And an active forecast has really been ramping up across our area here as we've been rolling into the middle of January and could carry us through the end of January. Now, currently what we're seeing is that we are tracking another snow event. Now, it is staying off towards our east, which is going to keep us on the lighter side for some snowfall accumulation, looking at about a 1 to 2 inch range, potentially some isolated areas getting upwards of 3 inches. But the active forecast will continue, and I'll have more details in our full forecast in just a few minutes.
Thanks, Alyssa. People across the Twin Tiers observed Martin Luther King Jr. Day today. Our Sonia Ellison tells us about a couple of the events and how some local civil rights leaders could soon get new recognition.
Corning, Elmira area kicked off Martin Luther King Day with service-oriented and cultural events. Just in time for the National Day of Service, Elmira City Council is considering renaming the Madison Avenue Bridge after a couple of Elmira area civil rights trailblazers. Corning's Cedar Arts Center hosted Making Real the Dream at its Drake House Studio Theater. The celebration kicked off with lunch, gospel and spiritual singing, drumming, storytelling, and more to honor a cultural legacy inspired by King.
Actually including everybody and celebrating diversity, not just tolerating it.
In Elmira, the Food Bank of the Southern Tier hosted its annual MLK Day Serve and Learn, a day of service through volunteering.
We've been doing this over a decade now, and it's an amazing day.
A day that we're taking off for Martin Luther King's remembrance. Why not serve?
It's just nice volunteering, knowing that you're helping out some people.
He was a great example of serving others, and so if I can do it in a tiny, small way.
The same legacy of community was shared by late civil rights leaders Adon Allen and Bessie Berry. Berry was Elmira's first black social worker, probation officer, city school district board member, and much more. Allen was highly involved in the Elmira community, becoming the city's first African American elected to city council, the county legislature, and appointed to the Elmira Civil Service Commission. And tomorrow, the Elmira City Council meets at 5:30 to introduce a resolution considering renaming the Madison Avenue Bridge after Bessie Berry and Adon Allen.
So I think it's fantastic.
It sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, I like it. Just honoring good people who help out.
Sonia Ellison, Big Fox News, Corning, Elmira.
2 people were taken to the hospital after being rescued from a house fire on Caldwell Avenue Sunday morning. According to the Elmira Fire Department, the fire started in the kitchen and 2 people were rescued from the roof porch and sent to the hospital. Their injuries and conditions are currently unknown. The investigation continues into the cause of the fire. Elmira High School hosted the 8th annual VEX Robotics Tournament while also winning the championship this weekend. 12 teams from 8 different schools competed in the competition. The Elmira Express Robotics team earned the title of tournament champions, qualifying them for the Northern New York State Championships. They also won the Robotics Skills Challenge Award as the top team in robot skills. The Elmira Police Department is investigating several incidents of broken car windows that occurred in the Elmira Downtown Business District in the early morning hours of January 11th and 12th. A surveillance camera caught images of a person smashing a vehicle window in a parking area on West Water Street's 200 block. Anyone with information about this suspect should contact the Elmira Police Department. Elmira police are also looking for help in finding and identifying a couple of people suspected of thefts. Police say this person was caught on video stealing about $2,000 worth of groceries from the Wegmans on Clemens Center Park, then getting into an SUV with a black Tennessee license plate. Police believe this next man stole a large amount of clothes from the Sparkle Clean laundromat on Walnut Street. If you can help identify either of these people, please call the Elmira Police Department at the number on your screen. 100 days into the Israel-Hamas war, Israeli leaders are facing mounting pressure to reach a ceasefire. It comes as fighting ramps up along the Lebanon border. Chris DeMeo has more.
Protests erupting around the world on Sunday, marking 100 days of the Israel-Hamas war. In Tel Aviv, thousands gathering for a 24-hour rally calling on Israel's government to do more to bring the remaining hostages home.
It's a long time for young people, old people, ill people to be there in jail under the ground.
More than 3 months into the conflict, Israeli forces have reduced operations in northern Gaza and expanded into the south, but they're now facing growing international pressure to end the war altogether. The Biden administration saying on Sunday it's the right time for Israel to scale back its offensive in the Gaza Strip.
Any military campaign, you go through phases. And the next logical phase here, as they have put pressure on Hamas leadership, is to get to lower intensity operations, more targeted, more precise raids, less airstrikes.
Though Israeli leaders are promising not to withdraw until Hamas is dismantled and all hostages are returned.
The military action takes time. It requires us to be precise, and we adapt it to the threats and to the hostages that are in the area.
Tensions also building on the northern front with Hezbollah, one day after Israeli forces killed 4 militants trying to cross the Lebanon border. On Sunday, an anti-tank missile fired from inside Lebanon hit a home in northern Israel, killing 2 civilians. Hezbollah's leader said his group will not stop until there's a ceasefire in Gaza. Chris DeMeo, Fox News.
Much of the South is getting walloped by its first winter storm of the season. Max Gordon reports from Dallas.
It's very cold out here. It feels like we're in a different state right now.
The storm that had been pounding the northern U.S. has now moved south. The first major winter storm of the season here. Millions of Americans are under winter storm watches with up to 3 inches of snow expected from Oklahoma to the East Coast. Even Georgia is expecting snow and freezing rain, turning travel into a nightmare. And officials are urging drivers to give crews enough space to keep the roads open.
Our plan is to be prepared. We want the roads to be clear, and we're going to go start pre-treating bridges and overpasses throughout the area.
In Texas, freezing temperatures and a big uptick in serious driving accidents.
People do need to drive to the conditions that are out there and drive like there is ice on the road.
The storm now shifting east with heavy snowfall already reported in parts of Arkansas. And even more travel disruptions are expected when warmer air pushes north, creating ice storms in cities like Shreveport, Austin, and Little Rock.
I drive a 4-wheel Blazer. And I wasn't getting 4-wheel drive. I wasn't getting out in it.
And as the snow and freezing rain keep falling, folks throughout the area are hunkering down and hoping for the best.
Get the fire going and get some chili started and maybe have a cold beverage.
And travel isn't much better in the skies here at DFW and over at Dallas Love Field. Flights are already being canceled and delayed as this winter weather sets in. In Dallas, Max Gordon, Fox Weather.
Up next, we'll find out how much longer this wintry weather is going to last. Plus, how long before we could have the world's first trillionaire?